like it is the all being of like to play lacrosse at Maryland is every little girl's dream.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning to some, good afternoon to others. A fantastic special guest. We're moving to the lacrosse space today. Those who know me know I have dove into lacrosse space. It has become my new love and passion. And this young lady we're talking to today was and is a fantastic lacrosse player. Let me give a quick intro. We have a U.S. lacrosse All-American, second team All-Ivy League, first team All-Big Ten, Big Ten Defender of the Year, IWLCA First Team All-American, Athlete Unlimited Pro, and a Women's Lacrosse League, the new WLL Pro. I want everybody to welcome to the show, Miss Abby Bosco. Abby, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on and carving out some time for us. And just what are you up to these days?
A whole lot of lacrosse.
Good.
It's been awesome. I think, getting to play in the WLL in February, and then I went to Japan with the WLL in March.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I'm from the New York, New Jersey area, so been coaching up a ton of teams and then just groups, small girls of all ages, coaching them up in the area right now.
Japan, okay. Tell me the most memorable moment about being in Japan.
Ooh, Japan was incredible. It's such, okay. Everyone says this when they do this trip with the women, the WLL and the PL both do it. And we play a team called Sakai Lacrosse. Okay. Phenomenal team. They've gotten so good. They're an all-star team from the Tokyo area. Okay. And they have tryouts. They train for this event. And I would say the most memorable part was we went to a secondary school as well as played Sakai Lacrosse, and just getting to interact with these little kids and then girls our age as well and see how much lacrosse is a part of their life as well, all the way across the world. I mean, just I think that my favorite part was firsthand seeing the incredible growth of the sport.
Yeah. Stay there because I wanted to talk about your childhood quickly, but something popped into my mind. The way that women's sports are growing these days, do you see yourself as somewhat of an ambassador and influencer to young girls of all sports?
Yeah, it's crazy to think about that. I think when WL launched and, I was able to go to NASDAQ for the bell ringing of the closing of the stock market when we initially launched it. And when you're in these moments and when you're playing in these games, I think I'm just so grateful to have more, like once I graduated, I didn't think I would play again. So to have these opportunities to keep playing, but then sometimes you do. And I feel like I don't do this enough. You do need to take a step back and realize I was a part of the first ever WLL game. Like, I don't think about how much weight that's going to hold in 5, 10, 15 years. And like you said, not just for little lacrosse players, but like our sport is helping pave the way for, basketball, volleyball, softball, every women's sport is kind of in this together. I can only imagine what it's going to be in 5, 10 years. Like, it gives me chills and it makes me so excited for the girls who are in middle school, high school that I train, because I just know that the sky's the limit.
So take your middle school and high school years. And if you want to go back even further, take me back. Take me to your childhood and how you got entered into the sport of lacrosse.
I have to shout out my mom here because she's the one who signed me up. So she gets all the credit for this one. But I grew up in Suffern, New York, which was we had a very good high school team when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So if you grew up in Suffern, New York, you kind of at least gave lacrosse a shot. So my mom started me in signed me up for the youth clinic when I was 4 in kindergarten. And there was no competitive league until I think I joined in 2nd grade, was just the SGYL, Suffern Girls Youth Lacrosse shout out. Got to shout out where you came from. And so I played that. That was from 2nd grade to 8th grade. And then obviously played travel lacrosse for Metro Magic. And then so I basically middle school, I went to Suffern middle school, Suffern high school, all growing up. And when I was getting recruited, the September 1st rule hadn't started yet. So my recruiting process was kind of like the end of middle school, the beginning of high school. So like 8th, 9th grade summers were huge for me.
Okay.
And so went through kind of the recruiting process. And yeah, and so I guess, is there anything specific you want me to touch on more
No,
of in
no,
that,
no,
or
no,
keep going?
no. I got you. So take me to the recruiting process. What were you always a defender, or were you a midi, an attacker? What did you grow up playing?
Oh, I love this question. Okay, so
All right.
kind of unique, and I like talking about this because I feel like so many girls go through it now in high school and college and like don't realize that other people have gone through the same thing. But
Mm-hmm.
so I was a midfielder my entire life. So
Okay.
from second grade to literally throughout my sophomore year of college. So
Okay.
I went to the University of Pennsylvania, my undergrad, and I
Mm-hmm.
was a midi there my freshman and sophomore year. And
Okay.
then I always excelled a bit more on the defensive end. Like I was always a bit more defensive minded.
Okay.
And going into my junior season at Penn, we had a few graduations on defense. I think 2 or 3 of our starting defenders left, and they needed people to fill those gaps. So
Okay.
throughout the fall, I kind of played midfield, a little bit more defensive minded. But then once we were like gearing up for season, end of fall ball, they were like, we need you at defense. Like that's where the hole is. And I think at first, especially going from a midfielder, you're like so used to being involved in everything that
Yep.
to have to kind of halt at the restraining line the first couple games, I was like, oh, you kind of are like bored when the ball's on the other end of the field.
Right.
But I
Right.
think it's just it like little did I know how much my coaches at Penn switching me to defense would open up. Like it allowed me to concentrate on one side of the field, which is when I really started to excel on that side.
Okay.
Like I was a contributor on both ends, but not like, it allowed me to really hone in and focus on that one skill, being a good
Yep.
defender.
Yep.
And I kind of focused on where I could help out my team. And I was on the draw circle as well. So I kind of was able to focus on defense and the draw circle and like how can I
Mm-hmm.
help my team in between the 30s and how can I help my team in the clear to give our midfielders a break because they're
Right.
running up and down the field. Like I knew what it was like to be as a midfielder, and a lot of times midfielders are responsible for carrying up the ball in the clear, and I'm like, if I'm able to initiate the clear, then that gives them a break. So I think for anyone going through a situation and maybe you're upset about a position change, like kind of turn it and be like, this is where my team needs me. How can I like be an exponential factor in my team's success on this, like what you need to focus on,
So
if that makes
midi
sense.
makes 1,000% sense. Middies and attackers are always the sexy position, especially when girls get older and they want to play college ball. They have aspirations of college ball, playing college ball. However, in your case, or even back up, there's not as much highlighted about being a defenseman or a defender at the collegiate level because it's not the sexy position, but it is the most required position to play. I think from my experience, the players don't necessarily have a problem being a defender. It's more so the parents who want their kids to be a certain position and find it hard to accept that maybe their coach is steering them in the right direction, that they could excel on defense. What would be your message as you're more mature now and you've gone through this process? What would be your message to some parents who are hesitant about having their youngster be placed primarily on the defensive side of the ball?
It's a great question. And it's so hard because I get it. You want the middies and the attackers, like those are the ones who get all the glory and they
Mm-hmm.
get to score the goals, they get to celebrate. But I
Yep.
think embracing being a defender has helped me so much. Like the cohesiveness on defense, you cannot have one good player who runs the show. Like
Right.
you need to be this cohesive collective unit and you need every single person to be successful.
Right.
So when you like are a part of that unit, and I it's hard to even describe because these girls are like your ride or dies. Like you literally cannot, the system doesn't function without one person or if one person doesn't do well. So
Right.
it creates such this cohesive gel. And we would always joke about it because it's like there's never any issues on defense because we need you to do like we need every single person to do better than the person next to them in order to be really successful. But
Yep.
I would just say like it's okay to be frustrated, and I don't think that by any means becoming a defender means that you need to stop practicing offense, you need to stop practicing stick skills, because I truly think like being a midfielder and having to have those really good stick skills, offensive mindset is what helped me to excel on the defensive end. So
Okay.
I think it's still okay. I would highly recommend like going outside. I still do it to this day, going outside, dodging, shooting. Like it's just going to make you a better all-around player. But I would say to trust the process and just embrace your role on the team.
That's a good
Because,
word. That's
coaches are the ones that know where their players need in order for the team to succeed. So although maybe it could be hard in the moment to see that reasoning, like trust the process, embrace your role, and like maybe sit and strategize like how can I better benefit my team in this new role.
You went from all Ivy League and then took your talents to the Big Ten with Maryland. What was that process? Why did you leave Penn after 3 seasons? Just talk me through that. I'm looking at the stats that you put up, and you had great numbers. Everybody knows about Maryland ball. I mean, they're like one of the foundational pieces with women's lacrosse. Tell me why going from that Ivy League at Penn, which is a great, very good program, and making that jump to Maryland. Why?
So I guess it's actually a really long, complex story, but
Okay, I'm here for
it. Let's dive in. But
let's dive in.
I actually graduated with my undergrad from Penn in 21. So I got stuck right in the middle of COVID while I was at Penn. So my freshman year was great. My sophomore year was great. We were grooving. And then my junior year, we got 6 games in, and that was when March 15th, I think it was, COVID shut down.
Okay.
So that was 2020 season. And then we came back 2021 for my senior year, and we were hopeful. Obviously, it was so unknown. We were really hopeful that we would play my senior season.
Yep.
And the Ivy League had us go through these 4 phases, and you couldn't play competition until your school. It wasn't just like your team. It was like your school got to stage 4 of the 4 stages.
Okay.
And by the time we reached stage 4, there was also a limit where we couldn't play anyone outside of our like closest league school radius because we weren't allowed to play each other. So for us, that was like very limiting because Princeton and Penn are super close to each other. So we were only allowed to play 1 game that season.
Yep. I'm looking at it.
Yep. Yeah, so all Ivy League athletes or spring athletes were granted 2 years of eligibility because of COVID. So my junior year and senior year were both COVID years. We didn't really play. So I was okay if we had played my senior year. I think I accepted. I'm okay with 3 out of 4 years. Like that's okay. But as soon as we had like an Ivy athletics wide call in January that ultimately told us we weren't going to play in the spring and all these other conferences were going to play. I was like, I'm not okay with only 2 out of 4 of my years. Like I've worked my whole life to play college lacrosse.
Right.
And at the time you weren't allowed to, so you're not allowed to be a grad student and play Ivy League athletics. Ivy League athletics are deemed only for undergraduate students. So that they wound up kind of working with my class to restructure that for a year so that people did have the opportunity to stay. Good. But I think with COVID, I kind of was like, this is a great opportunity. Like I entered the grad transfer portal. I had a great experience at Penn. But I think with COVID and everything, I wanted that guarantee that I was going to go somewhere where like I knew COVID wouldn't impact if I was going to play the following season, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and I also just was like, this is a unique opportunity for me to get a completely different experience. So when I entered the grad portal, I was kind of like, or the transfer portal, I was like, I'm only going to go forward with this if this is the perfect opportunity. Like this is a dream. And Maryland lacrosse is that dream perfect opportunity, I would say. And so I talked to a couple coaches, and then I had a Zoom call with Kathy Reese. It was Caitlin Phipps at the time, who's now the head coach at Georgetown, and Lori Kennis, who is the defensive coordinator at Maryland. I hopped on a Zoom with them three, and literally from the second I hopped on the Zoom, like I was like, I'm meant to be here. Like
Okay.
I need to experience them as coaches, this place. And I just wanted to be a part of something so special. Like Maryland lacrosse is so rooted deep in success and tradition, and
Yep.
like it is the all being of like to play lacrosse at Maryland is every little girl's dream.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that opportunity in my palms, I was like, I'm coming, like sign me up. So I did there was an awesome master's program in entrepreneurship that I wanted to do. So
Okay.
it was actually a 15-month program. So I was only planning on staying for 1 year. And then I had 2 years of eligibility, but was only planning on staying for one. I was like, I don't know, 6 years in college might be a lot. But then I literally just fell in love with Maryland, fell in love with the coaches, the people, the lacrosse there, that I had so much fun my first year. They were like, stay for one more. You're still doing your program. Like, why wouldn't you
Right.
just stay? And I was
Right.
like, you're so right. And so I ran it back for a second year just because it was just so fun, and
Good.
like everything about it. The coaches are incredible people. They make every practice so fun, and it's so you're with just every single player on the Maryland team was by far the best player in their high school team, their conference. So you're
Okay.
just every practice is highly competitive, but we all loved lacrosse and loved the competitiveness so much that it was so fun. Sorry, I told you it was a long story.
Nope, because we're kind of just get into it. So for those out there who don't know how good Maryland lacrosse is, I just pulled this up on this Wikipedia. Hopefully everything's been updated. But supposedly they only had four head coaches. They have 11 ACC tournament titles. They have 3 Big Ten tournament titles since the team switched over conferences a few years ago. And then they have 14 NCAA national championships. And I believe they are the leader in that category, NCAA championships. I may have to check Carolina, but I think they're at the top. So
They
when you
are
say, yes, they are. So when you
by
say,
far.
there you go. When you say it's every little girl's dream to play at Maryland, every little girl who plays lacrosse, if Maryland was an option, it would definitely be an option. So now you're a baller. You have your first season, and let me just check on my accolades. First team All Big Ten, and then Big Ten Defender of the Year. Which season for Maryland did that Big Ten Defender of the Year coming? Your first or second season?
My first.
Your first season. When did you know that you might have a shot at winning this award?
I don't know. I feel you're not really thinking about it at all
Okay.
season. But like we kind of my first year there was literally like this sounds cheesy, but a dream come true. Like
Yep.
I was in just like a perfect, like I lived with two other fifth years who had been at Maryland all 5 years, but they became like, we clicked immediately. They became like my best friends. I still talk to them every single day. They
Mm-hmm.
welcomed me with open arms. And that's, I think, what helped me to be successful there is just how welcoming everyone was. And just like the environment that they created. But I think we were undefeated that entire regular season, or we may have lost one game, but it was kind of like a fluke game. But we were kind of cruising that season, doing so well. We beat Northwestern at Maryland to clinch the outright Big Ten championship,
Okay.
or to clinch the share. And then we had one other Big Ten game that we took care of to win it outright.
Okay.
And then we like kind of Big Ten tournament, we won that as well. So we were like Big Ten regular season champs, Big Ten tournament champs. And I think like me winning that award is a credit to the success of our team, especially
Yeah.
like we talked
Absolutely.
about defensively and offensively. Like, had we not had such a successful team defense, and we had a phenomenal goal, our goalie won Big Ten goalie of the year that year. Like, had we had not won all, like, had all the pieces put together, like those awards would have never come. So I wasn't really thinking about it. Like there's awesome defenders every year in the Big Ten, but I just think like the success of our team that stemmed from every single person, specifically on the defensive end for myself, like clicking so well together and all working so well together is what allowed me to win that.
Who won the national championship that year?
Boston College. Or no,
Okay.
I'm sorry. No, it was UNC.
UNC beat Boston College.
We lost to
Yes.
Boston College in the semis.
In the semis. I was at that game actually in
Yep. Johns Hopkins.
It was at Johns Hopkins, correct. UNC, Boston College, Northwestern, and Maryland. Yep, I was at that game. Okay.
The huge storm, the rain delay.
Storm, correct. The rain delay, absolutely. Had to go underneath the stadium. That's awesome. Oh shoot! So you played in that game. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at the synergy here. That's awesome.
We didn't even know.
Look at that. That's all right. That's kind of cool. Lauren Gilbert. I'm a big Lauren Gilbert fan. She played at Northwestern that year.
Yeah, of course. She was my matchup.
Oh shoot. Okay, and we may get into that. I think I got a question about that. Go ahead.
That was in the regular season because we never crossed paths with them again after the regular season. Actually,
that's right. Because Northwestern lost to Carolina. That was a comeback. Carolina was down by like something crazy, 6 or something.
Insane.
Yeah, that was a comeback. Okay. All right. So fun question, and this is just an observation as I've been now, because I'm a girl dad. So as I've been studying girl sports, especially lacrosse ladies, women, young women, have this fun little pregame prep session where they like to record in the mirror and do their hair and maybe a little light makeup or whatever. And it seems like a bonding time, if you will. Also, is there I don't know, do you guys plan that stuff, or is it a certain time where the girls, hey, we're going to go do our hair now, let's turn the camera? Like, what is it about that moment that it's just, every time you guys post stuff, it goes viral. Every time you guys are in the mirror doing your hair, light makeup, it goes viral. Why?
This makes me laugh. It's like so silly and
it is.
We say like girl coded.
Yep.
But it's so funny because my undergrad, like TikTok was not a thing. And even my time at Maryland, like it wasn't really big at all. So like I didn't really do any recording or stuff there. Like it was just like, I just had like a game day bun that I would throw up. I like went through phases freshman, sophomore year while I did like had someone braid my hair, but I kind of got into the mindset where I was like, all right, I just want like the easiest thing that doesn't take me that long so that I can get into game mode. So then Maryland, I would just do like a high bun. And then when we went to the WLL this year, I think was the first time I really started posting. And it's just one of those things like you don't plan it, but you all like get into the locker room around the same time. And then you all gotta like the hair, it's either like a good hair day or a bad hair day. Like it might take you one shot to put it up, or there might be bumps every time. So you have to like redo it 20 times. So it depends. Like I know I posted one from WL and I think I just captioned it like girlhood because it's so true. It's like, it is such like a pregame bonding moment. And it's just like, it's not like we all plan to do it at the same time, but I think it's part of all of our routines. So a little light makeup, a little game day hair, because we always like look good, feel good, play good. You know the vibes.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, it's just like, it's fun. And I think, you know, even at our level, games you get nervous, you get butterflies. So I think it's one of those things that calms the nerves and it keeps everything lighthearted and fun. And just get you locked in.
Now, on one of those game day posts, the game day girlhood, I forget which one it was. You don't even have to endorse this product if you don't even use it. They're not paying you for it. But there was a product that it looked like you like rolled it in your hair. So you did your hair and then you like rolled it in the hair. Right. What is that? Shout out to whoever.
Yeah, I wish that I had it. It's in the other room, but it's basically, so I actually have it on today. Because I usually do this hair for my workout sessions. Had one
Okay.
this morning. So basically I put you put some regular gel in, and then to withstand the sweat and the fast movements of the game, it's
Yep.
basically a stick of like hair wax.
Okay.
And it's like a glue stick. It looks like you
Okay.
roll it up and you just like literally wax your hair back.
Yep.
And then there's like the small bristle brush that's specific for these slick backs, we call them.
Yep.
And then you do that. And it kind of gets it to stay kind of like you plant it here and it's like the finishing
Okay.
touch
Okay.
coat.
All right. Hold on. All right. First of all, are they paying you?
No, but they should, and I wish they were.
All right, so let's go. Let's go. We need a commercial right now. Take us through the commercial so we can post this, so they can contact you, so they can pay you to endorse this product. All right, go. You're on.
I think I would literally just tag them in that video that I made because it sums it all up. It's literally the finishing touch. Like if you don't put that in your hair, you wind up with all these flyaways because you're sweating and it kind of dissolves the gel. So you need the wax as your second coat.
You sold me. You sold me on it. If I needed the hair wax, I might purchase that if you were selling that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I obviously, guys, we don't do the same thing, but we do have the pregame, look good, feel good. We're always in the mirror, fix our pads, making sure our wristbands are wherever we want. So there's a similarity there. It may not be as fun and enjoyable as that part looks, but there's similarities on both sides. Shout out to USF because I really kind of paid attention to it when the South Florida Bulls started doing it. Morgan Zimmerman and Sophia Chepnik, they do a good job of it. And some of their videos they caught fire. And
I've seen them.
They do a good job, right? And they have the braid contest, and Coach McCord calls them braid wars. So there's an actual contest on the team for game day hairdo, especially if they have time. It looks like they do a lot of them on home games, especially if they have time. They're really they're putting a lot of effort into those game day hairdos.
Oh, their braids are next level. Like that definitely takes a while.
Right. Okay. So we talked about the girlhood. Are there any weird superstitions that you have?
Honestly, I kind of got away from superstitions because I just felt like they take up too much time. They don't let you they weren't allowing me to enjoy like that pregame girlhood. So I didn't really have many pregame superstitions. The only one that I had at Maryland was obviously I would wear the same hair tie. I always have like a hot pink hair tie or, some sort of always wore the same hair tie in my bun for games. And then two things, I guess, at Maryland, I would always get chicken parm pasta
that sounds good, actually.
Like the night before the game. So obviously, like not on game day, but I would always get chicken parm and pasta the night before. I would try to get it. Obviously, away games, you got to be flexible with it because away games you can't always have that. But whenever we had a home game, I would go to the same place. Shout out Potomac Pizza in College Park. Go to pregame meal, and a bunch of us would go and sit together, which was fun.
Okay.
The night before the games, and then the day before, it was myself and our goalie Emily Sterling, who's also an AU pro and was goalie and national goalie of the year. She was a year younger than me, but she was the goalie for both my years there. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Dynavision. Have you ever heard of that? It's like
have not.
So it's this like huge, expensive equipment that goes on the wall, and it has all these miniature square-shaped like buttons, and it's a reaction time game. So every second, you only have a second to hit the light that pops, and it's basically a big screen, so you have to have your eyes directly in the middle so that your peripheral vision, you can see all of them, and you try to get as many as you can in a minute. So we would like both do that until we got a number that we thought was like good, and because it saves all your scores. Like you put who's playing, saves all your scores. So we would like get one that was close to our highest, or we would obviously try to create a new record. And then once we were like, all right, we're locked in, like we would be done playing and get ready for the game. So those were the two things. But the Dynavision board we only had it at Maryland, so I haven't done it since I've been there.
Any teammates have any weird superstitions? Nobody was
I don't.
like, girl, that is, that's weird. If it works for you.
Okay, 1 year. No, I don't think we do. That wasn't really
Okay.
like a weird one.
Okay.
No, I don't think anyone. Not that I can remember.
No worries. No worries. No worries. We can always come back to it. If something pops in your head, we can always double back. All right. So AU, Athletes Unlimited, 4 years ago, they started the professional lacrosse league, and it struck a lot of interest because it was like the first professional women's lacrosse league, right? Tell me and talk to me about your experience with AU. How fun was it being around the girls, even being locked down in a certain area for a certain amount of time? Like, what was it? What was the good and the bad that you can tell me about AU?
Yeah, I mean, it was so any opportunity to play after college, I think is a blessing. And, we're also grateful for the opportunities we do have because like when we were in middle school and even high school, that wasn't an option.
Right.
I think the coolest thing was getting to play with girls that I had looked up to and watched playing, and those were who I kind of wanted to shape my game around. And then also getting to play with a lot of girls that were like my biggest rival in
Oh,
college. And
yeah.
I think, something I didn't realize was, these girls that you have like so much, I can't say hatred, but like so much competitive energy for, and you're like, we need to beat them. Like they were our biggest rival in college. It's like I am now best friends with some of them, which I
Name
never
one.
thought would happen.
Name one. Name
Um,
one.
I would say like there's definitely like the Northwestern duo of Izzy Skane and Erin Kuykendall are two of my really
Okay.
good friends now, and they were like my biggest rivals at Maryland.
Right.
So it's
And you had to
crazy
go.
just to think.
You legit had to go head to head because they were offensive players and you were a defensive player.
Exactly. Like they were literally like the people we studied before our game, and
Right.
we need to beat them. We need to beat them. Like it's our job to stop them, to slow them down. And like my first week this year at Athletes Unlimited, like I drafted them together on my team because I'm like no one wants to play against them, and
Right.
we've just like created such a great friendship now, and we play with each other all the time now and against each other. And it's like you don't think when you're playing against these people that you'll one day be like such good friends with them. You're like, there's no way.
Who was a better player than you? Who was a better player than you thought when you started playing with or against them in AU?
Huh. I think like everyone's so good. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anyone that I thought wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I think everyone's so talented.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Um, how real was the Charlotte North hype? Like, how big was it when you guys were around it? Like, yo, she's freaking legit, and the hype is real.
She's so talented, and like she's such a good person and such an amazing ambassador for women's lacrosse and women's sports in general. Like she deserves all that hype, and it's warranted. Like she's a phenomenal player and she's a generational talent. And yeah, like that. I mean, there's like nothing more to say because she is so talented and she's such a good person on and off the field.
Now, give me the schematics of AU. I heard that basically when you guys were up there for that period of time, you were almost, it was kind of like a college environment, maybe. So like you had to stay there a certain amount of times. You didn't have a whole lot of free time, if we will. Or is any of that true or false?
We had a ton of free time. So, basically we all stayed in the like in a place in Maryland, like a
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name of it right now, but we were all housed, like they provided this like individual rooms for all of us. And then it was about a 5-minute drive to the USA Lacrosse headquarters, which is where we practiced and played every day. So
Right.
we would have Mondays would be draft days, so you wouldn't have anything all day, just the like 1 hour draft.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, Wednesday, you would have some morning practice for an hour,
Okay.
hour to hour and a half. Thursday would be game day.
Mm-hmm.
Friday would typically be like a shoot around for an hour because it was the day, and then we would have 2 more games Saturday, Sunday, and then you just basically repeated that schedule 4 weeks.
Okay.
But outside from like practices, we would have a few dinners, but like the whole chunk of your day would be pretty free for you to kind of do if you had work, whatever you needed to do.
I thought AU did a fantastic job with their social media and the access they allowed the fans. What was one of the coolest things that probably the fans didn't see about AU, like behind the scenes that you like really enjoyed?
Ooh, I think just like us getting to hang out and bonding with a lot of the girls there, like because we did have that free time, like we would do random stuff, like hang out with each other. A lot of the girls would golf occasionally, like sometimes.
Who was good? Who was good? Who's a good golfer?
So I personally didn't ever golf. I
Okay,
should,
okay, okay.
but
All
I
right,
know
fair enough.
there's a bunch of them who are really good and
Okay,
do play a lot. But yeah, I think just like getting like being all together for 4 weeks and random like doing random stuff. It's hard to pinpoint one thing.
okay. Who who was the hardest cover?
Oh, Sam Apuzzo. She's so
Oh, she's a
good.
she's
She's
so
so
good.
good. She's so dynamic and like she just finds a way to score and more importantly she finds a way to win. Like her team could be down by so many goals and like she's going to find a way to win.
She
Just
was
so
fantastic.
talented. Yeah, so talented. So much respect for her and just
Oh
like
yeah.
another she's amazing.
Did anybody talk trash in AAU? In AU, did anybody talk any trash?
Not really. I mean, there's always like bickering back and forth,
Okay,
like
let me ask. Let me ask.
how it normally is on the field, like but more so like a bad call or something like that.
Let me ask this because this is what guys do. If you mix a whole bunch of guys who are good at their respective schools or league, and now we get together for like an all-star game, all right, and especially during practices, we're going to our trash talk is definitely going to be like, yo, we wore y'all out in the season. Like we killed y'all when we played you. You guys sucked. Blase, blase. Is that a girl thing? Is that a lacrosse cultural thing at all? No, you got
No,
okay, not at all. Okay, fair enough. I
not
didn't think
really.
so.
No.
Okay, that's fair. Last question about AU, and then we'll kind of maneuver into the WLL. Who was the resident DJ who always had the music going, getting everybody hype, pick the best songs and playlist?
Well, it's so hard because each week you were on a different team.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a little bit, it was different kind of every week. I'm trying to think if there was one person.
Not it was. If it wasn't, don't worry about it. Don't stress over it.
No, like it was just like I mean, there were honestly a bunch of people who were like, every time the music was on, it was good.
All right, here's a fun question. Because you guys had to switch teams every week, that means you had to switch uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Who had which color did you like the most, and which color did you hate the most?
Okay, so this is easy because my first year we didn't have these, but this past summer we had white and gold, and those were sick. They were
Okay.
fresh. So that was
Okay.
definitely my favorite. I would say my least favorite was probably when the year before the white and gold was a yellow, and I didn't like
Yeah.
wearing those.
That was I think it was yellow and white maybe.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was like a yellow color.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I honestly, the other ones I like.
So the WLL starts to they make their announcement that they're starting break off from the PLL. Okay, and there's a lot of excitement about the WLL. It's an additional pro league for women. Towards December, the Athletes Unlimited drops. They're saying, "Yo, we're going to suspend operations right now." For they cited a couple different things, scheduling and player availability with a lot of international stuff that's going on. All fair enough. So the WLL cracks off. You're a member of the first WL season. All right. Take me through just maybe when it starts to kind of give you butterflies about how cool this could be.
Yeah, well, I remember for like when the announcement was first happening, I got a message to if I was available to come to the stock market closing bell on I forget the exact date. And I was
Okay.
like, "Ooh, what could this possibly be?" Like we didn't know what it was for, but we
Oh,
had an idea.
okay.
So I think like once I got to Times Square that day, there were all these banners outside the stock
Mm,
exchange that
mm,
said like WLL Women's Lacrosse League. And that's when I got butterflies. I was like, this is sick. Like, this is
That's
going to
pretty
be
cool.
something so special. And then we got to our first event was Champ Series in at the St. James in Virginia. So we reported there February 9th or 8th or 9th, I believe it was, and we had our first media day, which was everything is sponsored by Maybelline.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a whole RV for us with a bunch of makeup from Maybelline and makeup artists who did our makeup for our media day, which was just so cool. And I think like from the get-go, I just realized like they did such an amazing job of focusing in and spending time on making sure every little detail was perfect for us.
Okay.
And I think like speaking for myself, but I think everyone would echo this. It was just such an incredible experience. It was obviously sixes, which was so much fun. And I think, you know, my team actually was part of that first ever game. And being announced, stepping on the field for that first ever game, it was just like every single emotion and such a cool, fun experience. And it was history right on the field then and there. And it's just like this feeling you can't even describe or explain.
That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. And everybody just loves the way just the girls lacrosse space is kind of popping, if you will, right? A lot of attention. The PLL has brought them underneath their wing. Shout out to AU with kind of starting the whole thing, and now hopefully WLL kind of takes it to the new level. Box lacrosse. You also play box, correct?
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay. What is what is a good tool? What did you learn from playing box lacrosse? How can it be advantageous towards one's game?
Yeah, I think all the disciplines like field, box, and sixes are a little bit different, but there's definitely components of each that you can take. And I think,
right,
especially going from box to sixes, it's that same short shift mindset. So, like, you would for sixes, you either run, you do like an offensive set, a defensive set out, or if you have like a bunch of defenders and a bunch of attackers, you can try to run them each possession. There's like different strategies. But it's the same with box. So it's like you're running on, you're sprinting off that quick kind of movement in the shorter condensed field. And I think box is a lot similar to sixes in that it's, you know, everything goes so fast in terms of the shot clock, the shifts, you running on and off, and just the play. Like there's no time to think, there's no time to dwell on mistakes. It's very much so next play mentality. Yeah. So I think that those two kind of were that style helped me a lot when I started playing sixes.
You've played in a few different leagues, and we've highlighted them here, from Ivy League to the Big Ten, AU, WLL. Is there a moment that kind of stands out? Like when you get older and you put your grandkids on your lap and they say, hey, Grandma Bosco, you were a stud. Like what singular play or event would you say to them, yo, I was pretty dope right here. This was my favorite moment.
I think there's a few.
Okay.
I think like going back to just playing lacrosse for such a storied program that Maryland is, and you know, playing alongside some of the best players to ever play, and then also, you know, winning the Big Ten regular season on our field in front of all the Plex, we call it, was packed, like sold out. All of our alumni were there, like winning on that. It was just like such an electric feeling. So winning like the Big Ten regular season, the Big Ten championship, obviously your ultimate goal is to win a national championship, but I still do think, you know, there's something to be said about going to the Final Four that year and playing in front of the crowd that was at Johns Hopkins that day, seeing all the little girls who show up and show out to support you, and like you realize that like what you're physically living and physically doing is what they dream and aspire to do one day. And I think the same translates for WLL. It was just our Saturday game was a sold out crowd, and all these little kids there, all these little girls after the game coming up to you. They want your autograph. They want pictures. It's just, you know, you're getting to live out and be the first to do something that all these little girls it's going to become their dream. And I think that is kind of what I take away from all of it.
Marie McCool went to Maryland, right?
No, she went to North Carolina.
She went to UNC. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
check that. I was gonna connect the dot. I want you to give a shout out. You have a younger sister who plays, and she plays here in Tampa. Shout out to the Spartans who are trying to repeat as champs, D2 champs. Absolutely, shout out Tampa. Uh, Evaluate younger sister for me. Break her down for me. If you were calling a Tampa game, if you're calling a University of Tampa game, and you had just finished watching your sister play, what would you say about her in the post game evaluation?
I love hyping up the Spartans and her specifically, but she's better than I am. She's a true two-way midi, like someone who gets it done on both ends of the field and did something that I was not. But I just think like her offensive play, she is probably the shiftiest person I've ever seen, and like we've played against each other in the backyard, and she's very hard to stop her when she gets going. So I know it firsthand, but I like her. She'll catch a ball here, and like immediately her legs are going the other way, and I'm like, I genuinely do not know how your legs move like that. But I would just say like she's one of those players, and she's so consistent and steady. Like she shows up every single game and performs and is just such a solid player that it's like and midfielders too, they don't always get the credit that they deserve because of how much they contribute to a team, but just such a contributor on the offensive end, a contributor on the defensive end, a true two-way midi. And I admire how she's able to excel on both ends of the field because it's not easy.
Let's put a pretty bow on this conversation. Talk to us about what you're into right now and advertise what you have going on.
Yeah, well, crazy full circle moment how lacrosse is now, you're able to make it a full-time job. So playing for the WLL and then also supplementing that with like a ton of coaching and consulting in the area. I've gotten to work with a few high school teams in the area, helping them out with some defensive concepts, some draw work and concepts, and then also just a ton of small group sessions, a few clinics, and then some summer mini camps on the horizon. So look out for those from Abby Bosco Lacrosse.
Let's do it, Abby. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll do it again, right?
Yes. Count me in.